Hello, my name is John Nagoski, and I'm a native speaker of English from Wisconsin in the USA. I would like to introduce to you my English reading channel with questions and answers.
More than 1,000 years ago, deep in the jungles of northern Cambodia, a civilization arose that built the largest and most beautiful temples the world has ever seen. Then, mysteriously, they vanished, smothered by the tropical forest. How did they create such beauty in so hostile a place, and why did they abandon these jewels in the jungle? The ruins of this lost civilization are so remote that it wasn't until 1914 that European explorers discovered this temple. Called Bante Shrey, the Shrine of the Women, this temple was built just over 1,000 years ago by the people who called themselves the Khmers. From their base in Cambodia, they dominated Southeast Asia. They were masters of stone carving, taking the local pink sandstone, carving every inch of it until no space was left undecorated. But Bante Shrey is one of many temples that the Khmer created. From the 9th to the 14th century, they built hundreds of temples. They constructed giant cities with vast fortified walls and gates with huge mysterious faces. And the world's largest sacred building, Angkor Wat. The moat at Angkor Wat is as wide as 2 football fields. The outer wall is 2 miles long, and the central shrine is as tall as Notre Dame Cathedral. But the overwhelming impression is one of grace and beauty. Scattered over a site the size of Manhattan are hundreds of jungle-smothered temples, giant enigmatic statues, and huge man-made reservoirs. Clearly the center of a vast and lost civilization. This is real Indiana Jones territory. But how could anyone build such temples in dense tropical jungle? The answer lies in one of the most bizarre natural phenomena in the world. It's hard to believe, but every year this immense river, the Mekong, one of the largest rivers in the world, stops flowing south toward the sea, pauses, reverses, and flows north for several months into the heart of Cambodia. This water ends up in this giant lake, the Tonle Sap, which more than quadruples its size for 4 months each year, drowning whole forests of trees in the process. The source for this strange event lies in the Himalayan mountains of Tibet. When the winter snow melts, vast quantities of water rush southward to the sea. But when this deluge hits the shallow delta at the mouth of the Mekong, it can't all escape to the sea, and so the river backs up, and the surplus pours into the Tonle Sap Lake. Normally a modest collection of muddy pools, navigable only by the smallest of boats, it expands into a shallow sea 100 miles long and 30 miles wide, and in places 50 feet deep. Drowning great forests, as it expands, the leaves from the trees provide vast quantities of food and spawning grounds for the lake's teeming fish population. Floating villages on the lake move back and forth, moving miles every year as the lake grows and then shrinks, harvesting the largest crop of freshwater fish in the world. Here the Khmer Empire founded its capital on the banks of this extraordinary source of food. Just like the river Nile created Egypt, the remarkable Tonle Sap Lake created the glories of ancient Angkor. In this hot tropical land, civilization stands or falls by its use of water. Between the headwaters of the Angkor region and the Tonle Sap, some 40 miles away, the Khmer people created their kingdom. Thankful for these pure mountain streams, they carved gods in the actual river itself. And hundreds of lingams carved on the floor of the stream assured that the water flowing down to the distant temples of Angkor would be blessed. The lingam is a representation of the male phallus. It is an Indian object of veneration widely worshipped in Indian temples. But why were they carved on the bed of a Cambodian stream, some 2,000 miles from their spiritual home? After all, when these were carved some 1,000 years ago, it would have taken many months of extreme hardship and danger to get here from India. It must have been as difficult as going to the moon in our own time. And why are all the shrines of Angkor filled not with local deities, but with familiar gods of India? The answer can be found in the rhythms of the tropical monsoon. Indian traders had been coming to Southeast Asia for hundreds of years before the first temple was built, following the rhythms of the monsoon winds, which blew their ships from India to Asia. Once there, they had to wait 6 months or so before the wind reversed its direction and blew them home again. So while they settled down to wait for their passage home, they passed on their ideas of religion, art, dance, and architecture to the local population. The Indian influence explains the layout of Angkor Wat, because it was the home of a god, the temple and the vast entrance and long causeway leading to the central shrine had to be as splendid as possible. The endless corridors provide space for all the minor gods of India also living in the shrine. Unlike a Christian or a Muslim holy place, this wasn't a meeting place for the faithful. These final steps leading to the main shrine would have been barred to almost everyone. No great religious processions walked up here, just devout priests looking to the everyday needs of the god to anoint and clothe it afresh every morning. And so when you reach its heart, the shrine at the very center of Angkor Wat, it is absolutely tiny. Smaller than most people's living room, and unlike Greek or Egyptian ruins, these shrines are still holy places, worshipped every day by thousands of devout Buddhists. The close connection with India explains why Indian mythology dominates Angkor Wat.